off pole position for Taron McKenzie initially, but then outgunned by number 34, Jordan Weaving, the young man from Cape Town, South Africa. And both of them beaten to the first turn by the Fab Racing Mahindra of Bradley Ray. And the Kentish boy led the way. A big moment here for Jordan Weaving. He caught the curve badly, fell heavily on the way up Haywood Hill. And that left the Mahindra to fight off the attention of WD-40 Honda's Joe Francis. Francis took the lead at the top of Haywood Hill through Druids, and then it settled down into a massive five-way battle as the two-stroke 125 tried to get back into the lead. Taron McKenzie, Joe Irving, Ollie Simpson, all involved in the battle. A big mistake there coming out of Paddock Hill Bend by number 95, Taron McKenzie. He makes amends for it though as they go 3 and 4 abreast into Paddock Hill Bend. Drama all over. Joe Francis arrows his way through to the front as they drop down into the dip. And then it's absolutely mega racing on the final lap. Just like breathtaking stuff, 4 abreast as they launch down into Hawthorne. Taron McKenzie has the advantage over Bradley Ray, Joe Francis and Joe Irving. But as there was where the Toad and Tatey boy thought he'd lost it, but he drove back underneath Joe Francis, got the drive out of Clark Kerr, and in dramatic style took his first victory in the Motostar Championship ahead of Joe Francis and Taron McKenzie. It looked like a good start for Adam Jenkinson, SMT Kawasaki, off pole position in the Pirelli National Superstock 1000 Championship race. Perfect start for the Cheshire-based Mancunian. He took the lead then, but Tommy Aquino was lightning fast right from the start on the WD-40 Kawasaki. And then as they drop downhill through Paddock Hill Bend, a rare mistake from Adam Jenkinson. The championship leader barrel rolled out of the race, and suddenly and then drama at the front. James East leading for the first time and brilliantly. Had a moment coming out of Surtees and was hit by Joel Burns. That unsteadied the Geordie boy. He dropped back a couple of places behind new race leader Tommy Aquino and the persistent Hudson Kenner, number 3. And it was Kenner who barged his way through cleanly on the inside into Paddock Hill Bend and took what turned out to be an increasingly convincing lead in the race. Poor James East, with whatever problem had afflicted him, had to ride out. That was unlucky for the lad from Royston. Meanwhile, Tristan Palmer was getting really on the pace and cut underneath Joel Burns. The Moto Rapido Ducati looked as if it might have been able to force its way through to second place, and he had the pressure on the WD-40 Kawasaki. But at the front, Hudson Kenner won cleanly for the Trick Moto Kawasaki, ahead of second place Tommy Aquino, the exultant American, ahead of Tristan Palmer. But Hudson Kenner, a championship challenger now, all right. Off the start, what a start by Callan Cooper. That's how to make the pole position into a whole shot. Make it all your own. Took an early aim for the apex of Paddock Hill Bend. Just shot to the front there on that beautiful yellow number 101, the CF Motorsport Yamaha. Craig Fitzpatrick, of course, former racer himself. And then Luke Bushy-Hedger began to make some progress there, moving through into 3rd place on the Gearlink Kawasaki. We had a couple of fallers at Druids Hill Bend, and although they weren't best pleased with each other, at least they were relatively unharmed. Callan Cooper still leading the way, but Luke Hedger now launches an assault on James Lodge on the Motor Breakers Yamaha and moves us through into 2nd place. Beg your pardon, make that Kawasaki, the Motor Breakers Kawasaki team. I was thinking back to last year. And then as they came over the finishing line, again that huge early move from Luke Hedger straight for the apex of Paddock Hill, and that gave Callan Cooper something to think about. He had a quick look over his shoulder, checked out what was going on behind. That was what was going on behind, a huge battle between James Lodge and the championship leader Jordan Simpkin, but the man from Cambridge could not find a way through, just as Callan Cooper in the battle of the 17-year-olds at the front couldn't find a way past the bright green Kawasaki. And as they snaked across the finishing line, it was victory from an elated Luke Hedger ahead of Callan Cooper. 3rd place went to James Lodge, 4th place to the championship leader, but he has a new challenger here from the race winner Luke Hedger, 2nd in the championship now and a lot closer. Jonathan Railton, a faller yesterday, the championship leader on pole position, doesn't get such a good start. It's Leon Morris who blips his way through from the outside of the front row of the grid to grab the advantage. Spike Edwards making his return to the race, the veteran there running just ahead of Marty Nutt, who has a massive moment coming out of Sheep Curve, drops him back in place, but he quickly fires back through the third place. And then a crash exits as Edward exiting clearways there, as we now go back to the leaders at number 2, Leon Morris, with Marty Nutt making a move as they go down Paddock Hill Bend. Nutt takes the lead, having won round the Indy circuit yesterday. The Ulsterman wants a bit more of it. Third place at the moment for the black and red machine of Spike Edwards. 77 Marty Nutt. Good ride by Marty Nutt from Castle Rock on the Ducati Commentary JHP bike, but he has a big moment coming out of Surtees, hands the advantage back to Leon Morris, and that means that he's going to come under some kind of pressure from that man, Jonathan Railton, who has dived underneath Spike Edwards. Spike Edwards, good to see him back on the Olins at P&H Motorcycles 848 as we watch Jonathan Railton attacking number 77 Marty Nutt, the rush for the line. Leon Morris takes victory, his first of the year, and just hanging on to second place. Marty Nutt now has a 1-point advantage over Jonathan Railton in the championship table, but the victory goes to Leon Morris. Off the start, no Scott pictures on the front row. He was starting right from the back as they launched downhill, with Dan Hellier off pole position, making the most of that pole position start, and the Cup Challenger led the way up Halewood Hill. Well, very quickly, Chrissy Rouse came into the picture, forcing his way through to third place at Surtees, past the yellow machine of Charlie King. And then we had early fallers at Westfield, fortunately without any harm being done. 2 riders going down in 2 separate incidents there, and fortunately also the fact that they were on the entrance rather than the exit to that particular turn. But look at this move by Chrissy Rouse. He forced his way through in one massive move at Paddock Hill Bend, and that gave him the lead. And from that point on, the brave Geordie had that race. Well, he looked fairly under control. The rest of them crowding one another out round through its hill bend, and it was anyone's second, third or fourth place at this point. Charlie King on the yellow machine doing his best to force a way through. He finally got the better of Dan Hellier as they dived into the saucer-shaped Stirling's Bend, and also took Alicia, who was running wide on his own. The Spaniard had the final say on the matter with a brilliant move here coming out of Hawthorne's Bend on the final lap. Gave him the push to get underneath through Westfield Bend, down Dingledell. The leader and the race winner, the championship leader, Chrissy Rouse. Second place went to Alex Alicia. Third place for Charlie King after a brilliant Triumph Triple Challenge race. Well done, Chrissy Rouse, extending his championship advantage.
Well, when the race got underway, the atmosphere was thick with the determination from the Birchall brothers as they took the lead going into Paddock Hill Bend ahead of pole position man Tim Reeves, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving as Reeves sided through, nearly put them on the gravel. Contact from the word go here, and that really set the scene for what was to be an enthralling Sidecar race. At the front, the lead swapped and we swapped several times, with the Birchalls and the Reeves brothers vying for the coveted lead. Never far behind though, Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson gave it their all as well, and were in touch for pretty much all of the race, and they nosed ahead several times. 3 abreast of Druids, did not go 3 into 1. Andy Peach almost collected them. Charlie Richardson did a magnificent job to stay aboard as the rear tyre bit. Hegarty showed his front end and pushed hard. Reeves, meanwhile, getting away just a little bit, but the Birchalls were not done yet. Hegarty lunged past the Paddock Hill Bend, one of his favourite overtaking spots, pushed the Birchalls wide, and from then on, it was pretty much a done deal. Tim Reeves easing away. Fighting back at Surtees, though, there was real contact between these two, and that gave Tim Reeves the opportunity he wanted. The gap then was 3 seconds, and he never looked back. Hegarty Lawson had to retire, and that was a shame for them. No doubt about the winners though, Tim and Tristan Reeves. they knew they'd been in a fight.